Not every star is meant to burn for 20 years. Some are supernovas, exploding with a brilliance that outshines everything before vanishing forever. We're counting down the NFL's brightest shooting stars, the players whose incredible peaks were cut short by fate, leaving fans to wonder what might have been. Number 10, Robert Griffin III. Back in 2012, Robert Griffin III wasn't just a quarterback. He was a full-blown phenomenon.
The elusive Robert Griffin.
RG3 came into the league and immediately set it on fire. We're talking about a guy with a cannon for an arm and legit track star speed, a combination that made defenses look like they were moving in slow motion.
He is a football genius.
He racked up over 3,200 passing yards, an insane 815 rushing yards, and 27 total touchdowns. He snagged Offensive Rookie of the Year, and more importantly, he gave a long-suffering franchise a jolt of pure, unadulterated hope. DC didn't just have a quarterback. They had their savior for the next 15 years.
Griffin throws, and it is a touchdown, Redskins.
But as fast as he rose, he fell even faster. In a playoff game that year, his knee buckled in the most gruesome way imaginable. It was one of those injuries you just can't unsee. He tried to come back, he really did, but the magic was gone. That explosive burst, the effortless swagger, it was all replaced by hesitation and a body that had betrayed him. Within a few short years, he went from the face of the NFL to a backup, and then out of the league entirely. He was the definition of a shooting star. A spectacular, breathtaking flash across the sky that was gone before you could even make a wish. Number 9, Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin didn't have a dramatic flame out, he just faded away. And that might be the biggest shame of all, because for a solid decade, he was one of the most relentlessly great running backs the game had ever seen. Seriously, the man was a machine. He kicked off his career with 10 straight seasons of over 1,000 rushing yards. Let that sink in. 10 straight. He finished with over 14,000 career yards. That's territory reserved for the gods of the game. But here's the thing. Martin never got the superstar treatment. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, and he played in an era packed with other big-name backs. He was the quiet professional who just showed up, punched the clock, and churned out yards like a factory. He made 5 Pro Bowls, which feels criminally low. And then, after a knee injury in 2005, he quietly hung up his cleats. He made the Hall of Fame, as he darn well should have, but he disappeared from the league without the massive farewell tour he deserved. He was a bona fide legend who let his game do all the talking. And when it was over, he walked away just as quietly as he played. Number 8, Cam Newton. In 2015, Cam Newton wasn't just the MVP, he was the league.
Cam Newton has it, and he's going to keep it. No flip, touchdown Panthers.
He was an absolute force of nature, a 6'5", 245-pound titan who could throw a 50-yard bomb on one play and then run over a linebacker on the next. He put up an insane 50 total touchdowns, led the Carolina Panthers to a 15-1 record, and dabbed his way all the way to the Super Bowl. With his Superman celebration and a smile that could light up a stadium, he felt like the undeniable future of the quarterback position.
He leads all quarterbacks this season in rushing yards and rushing attempts.
But playing like Superman comes at a cost. The hits started piling up. His body began to break down, and that cannon of an arm started to lose its thunder. The throwing mechanics, once so fluid, became labored. The game-breaking runs became less frequent. Just a few years after that historic MVP run, he was a shell of his former self, bouncing around the league before unceremoniously exiting. It was a rise so meteoric you could get whiplash just from watching it, followed by a fall that was as stunning as it was sad. For that 1 year, he was untouchable, and then he wasn't. Number 7, Patrick Willis. For 8 seasons, Patrick Willis was the single most terrifying linebacker in the NFL. He wasn't just a player. He was the beating heart and soul of that ferocious San Francisco 49ers defense. The guy was a heat-seeking missile, a sideline-to-sideline force who delivered some of the most bone-jarring hits you've ever seen. The accolades speak for themselves.
That's what great football players do, and he is a great football player.
In 8 seasons, he made 7 Pro Bowls and was named a first-team All-Pro 5 times. That's not just good, that's legendary stuff. He was still at the absolute peak of his powers at age 30, an age where most linebackers are just hitting their prime. And that's when he pulled the rug out from under the entire league. Citing chronic foot injuries, Willis shocked everyone and walked away from the game. Just like that, no farewell tour, no slow decline. One day, he was the best linebacker on the planet, and the next, he was gone. Few players in the history of the game have played his position at that high of a level, but his career was over before it ever got a third act. Number 6, Terrell Davis. Truth be told, if you only watched the NFL from 1995 to 1998, you would have believed that Terrell Davis was, without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest running back to ever lace up a pair of cleats. In that 4-year window, he was simply on another planet.
What a run by Terrell Davis! How many tackles did he break on that baby?
We're talking about a league MVP, a 2,000-yard rushing season, 2 Super Bowl championships, and a Super Bowl MVP to top it all off. He was the engine of that Denver Broncos dynasty, a runner who combined power, vision, and a legendary stiff arm. But the human body just isn't built to withstand that kind of punishment. By the time he was 29, his knees were completely shot. He tried to keep going, but he was never the same player. He finished his career with just over 7,600 rushing yards, a number that feels insultingly low for a player of his caliber. For those 4 seasons, though, nobody was better. Nobody. It remains one of the sharpest rises and one of the most brutally fast falls in the history of the sport. A reminder that greatness can be fleeting. Number 5, Sterling Sharpe. Before guys like Randy Moss and Terrell Owens came along, Sterling Sharpe was putting up video game numbers.
Boy, Sterling Sharpe is simply magnificent.
In just 7 seasons with the Green Bay Packers, he was an absolute monster.
Ball is loose. Sharpe picks it up. Touchdown.
The man was a route-running technician who could catch anything thrown in his zip code. He was named a first-team All-Pro 3 times, led the league in receptions 3 times, and in 1994, he had a season for the ages, catching an incredible 18 touchdowns. He was Brett Favre's number 1 target and on a clear path to the Hall of Fame. But at just 29 years old, a severe neck injury cut his career short in its prime. Just like that, one of the most dominant receivers in the game was forced to hang it up. For decades, his legacy was largely forgotten, overshadowed by the receivers who came after him. It wasn't until 2025 that he finally, and rightfully, got the call to the Hall of Fame. You have to wonder, though, if he had played another 5 or 6 healthy seasons, we might be talking about Sterling Sharpe as a top 5, maybe even top 3 wide receiver of all time. Number 4, Gale Sayers. They called him the Kansas Comet, and man, did he live up to the name. In a run-heavy, old-school era of football, Gale Sayers was a flash of technicolor brilliance. In his 5 full seasons with the Chicago Bears, he was a human highlight reel. He led the league in rushing twice.
When he ran, it was like watching one person turn into 2 people.
Scored a mind-boggling 22 touchdowns as a rookie, and earned 5 All-Pro selections. He was poetry in motion, a player who could turn any given touch into a house call. But, as this is the theme of the list, knee injuries robbed him and us of a full career. He was forced to retire at just 29. But here's the thing that really tells you how special he was. His impact was so immense in such a short period that he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame anyway, and became the youngest person to ever receive the honor. Imagine being so undeniably great that even a career cut in half couldn't keep you out of Canton. Now, imagine what could have been with another 5 healthy years. It's a thought that's both thrilling and heartbreaking. Number 3, Sean Taylor.
I'm Sean Taylor, the hardest hitter in the draft.
This isn't just about a career that ended too soon, it's about a life. And number 3 is Sean Taylor, and his story is a flat-out tragedy. By 24 years old, Taylor was already one of the most feared players in the entire NFL. He was a safety who played with the ferocity of a linebacker and the speed of a cornerback. A rare, one-of-a-kind one-of-a-kind physical specimen who was changing the way the position was played. He hit like a freight train, had a knack for making impossible interceptions, and played the game with a passion that was infectious. He was already a two-time Pro Bowler and was well on his way to a Hall of Fame career. But in November 2007, the unthinkable happened. Taylor was shot and killed by intruders during a home invasion. He was just 24. His death sent shockwaves through the league and left a permanent scar on the sport. It wasn't just about losing a great football player. It was about the devastating loss of a young man who was just beginning to find his way in life. His potential on the football field was limitless, but his potential as a father, a son, and a man was the greatest loss of all. Number 2, Andrew Luck.
But I am going to retire. This is not an easy decision.
When Andrew Luck was drafted first overall by the Indianapolis Colts, he was billed as the perfect prospect. The can't-miss kid destined to replace a living legend in Peyton Manning. And for 6 seasons, he lived up to every bit of the hype. He threw for over 23,000 yards and 171 touchdowns, made 4 Pro Bowls, and even won Comeback Player of the Year after battling back from a serious shoulder injury. He was brilliant, tough, and had the aw shucks charm that made him impossible to root against. He was supposed to be the Colts guy for the next 15 years, but behind the scenes, the game was taking a brutal toll. Years of getting beat up behind a porous offensive line had left him in a constant cycle of injury, pain, and rehab. And so, at just 29 years old, in the prime of his career, Luck stood at a podium and, through tears, announced he was retiring. The news broke during a preseason game and sent a collective shockwave through the NFL. A franchise quarterback, one of the most talented throwers on the planet, was walking away because the joy of the game had been stripped away by the physical punishment. It was a stunning and sobering reminder of the true cost of playing football at the highest level. Number 1, Bo Jackson.
No matter what happens in life, keep this up.
The man was less of an athlete and more of a myth, a folk hero in shoulder pads. He was a Pro Bowl running back for the Raiders who possessed a combination of size and speed that felt like a cheat code. He could break off a 90-yard touchdown run where he'd outrun cornerbacks and run over linebackers in the same play. And, oh yeah, he was also an all-star outfielder in Major League Baseball who could hit 450-foot home runs and throw runners out at the plate from the warning track. Bo knew everything. But in a playoff game in 1991, he suffered a freak hip injury on a routine tackle. Just like that, his football career was over after just 4 seasons. His legend, however, only grew. He became this mythical figure, a symbol of limitless athletic potential cut short. To this day, fans and players alike still talk about him with a sense of awe and wonder. What if Bo had focused only on football? What if he'd played for a full decade? Could he have been the greatest running back of all time? We'll never know. And that's what makes him the undisputed king of the NFL stars who vanished far, far too soon. What's your number 1 what-if player? Drop your picks in the comments below and let the debate begin. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe.